So, Bat Family, you may or may not have heard that Robert Pattinson has been tapped to play the Batman in Matt Reeves' Batman movie. I have a lot to say about this. The whole world is kind of split in their opinions, so let's break all of this down. What is up, guys? Welcome to a brand new Batman movie update, I guess, or DC Universe update, or whatever this is anymore, because whoever knows with the DCEU anymore, like what even is the connectivity tissues to all of it, I don't know. But either way, guys, you may have heard, you may not or may not have heard that Robert Pattinson is or has been tapped to play the Batman. Now, when this first came out, there was kind of a lot of confusion. For example, I'll get an article up. I think it was Variety's exclusive to begin with. They say Robert Pattinson to play the Batman for Matt Reeves and Warner Brothers exclusive. So the way they word that article made it seem like it's already a done deal. Now, I'll explain this in a second because, for example, you may not like mega have it ironed out yourself. But then a lot of conflicting reports came out saying, oh, but Robert Pattinson confirmed for Batman. That isn't technically true. So the deal with that is, before I get onto my thoughts on how I feel about Robert Pattinson playing a younger Batman, a younger kind of Affleck, and how does this kind of connectively connect, that doesn't make sense, Boba, to like obviously the DCEU films with Ben Affleck's Batman, is essentially that Robert Pattinson is the number one choice. He quite literally is the number one choice to play the role for Matt Reeves or like Warner Brothers. They want him to do it, but he hasn't signed a dotted line. But Variety of kind of like a low-key saying that, he's basically the guy, don't worry about it. But there are other choices like Nicholas Hoult. I can't remember the other one off the top of my head. So technically, whilst it's all out in the open and nobody signed a dotted line, they kind of have to say like, oh, we've got like a few choices, Robert Pattinson, Nicholas, blah, 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 blah. But really, they want Robert. I mean, to be honest, Variety say it here, and I don't know why all the other outlets didn't, take this into account before they made their headline saying, like, he is the Batman. While sources say it's not a done yet deal, Pattinson is the top choice, and it's expected to close shortly. Warner Brothers had no comment. Now, how do I feel about this? With all due respect to people, like truthfully, like, with all due respect, if you're basing this off of Twilight, which a lot of people, seriously, thousands, millions of people are impulsively doing, just stop. Just stop. Please stop. This guy has been in so many movies, independent movies, to the point where he hasn't wanted to be in mainstream kind of movies to avoid the toxicity that he kind of had to deal with after Twilight. Now, I'm not trying to come across as some Robert Pattinson fanboy, this, that, and the other. I'm just saying, if all the people, because it was really frustrating seeing so many tweets. Now, fair enough if you don't like him. If you don't like him and you've seen some of his other films, then fair enough. Fair enough, you may think, okay, he's not for me. You may have liked Ben Affleck before, but you may have thought, like, okay, I don't think Ben Affleck would be a great Batman. But then maybe your mind changed. So if you're on that boat, fair enough. But if you are judging him based off of freaking Edward Cullen and Twilight, and you know who you are, if you're watching this right now and you're being honest with yourself, and that was your first reaction, and you haven't seen the other movies, like, be honest with yourself. If you're doing that, do yourself a favor and just watch some more of his stuff. He's way more than proved himself to be a good actor. Now, believe it or not, when this news first broke, I just knew it would be Robert Pattinson. I tweeted saying I knew it. You may, or if you join my live streams, I get asked, it's just like Q&As all the time. I almost felt when answering this, because, some people have actually asked me in the live streams, what about Robert Pattinson, that rumor going back a few months? Obviously, there was merit to that rumor because of what we're talking about right now. But I supported it, but I was always made to feel like, not made to feel like, but I got the impression to the point where I almost felt shy talking about my interest in Robert playing Batman, because I really had confidence, because I can easily see him be a Bruce Wayne. 100,000% this guy would be a brilliant billionaire playboy Bruce Wayne. Batman, come on, to be honest, unpopular opinion maybe, but Ben Affleck, as great as a Batman he was, that warehouse scene, the Batman side of him was definitive. Absolutely incredible. But his Bruce Wayne, or the scenes where he's talking in the suit and stuff like that, I wasn't the biggest fan of. So if you look at this objectively, Robert Pattinson, in my mind, can play Bruce Wayne in terms of wearing the suit. He's got a chiseled chin, he's got the looks, he will wear the suit, he will be Batman under the suit. What did Ben Affleck do? Did he do that warehouse? Of course he didn't do the warehouse scene. That was a stunt double. So they're going to make this Robert Pattinson just as badass as the choreography that you saw in Batman vs. Superman. Combine that all together, then I think already, like, they're going to make him a really cool Batman, because all he has to do is wear the suit in, like, a standstill scene, maybe, like, an occasional, like, side angle of a stunt scene, but then they'll shove a stunt double in there. You get what I mean. But then you're like, Boba, just because they can make him look cool, and he might look good in the suit, doesn't mean he'll be a good Batman. Well, then, I guess you're just going to have to, like, take my word for it in terms of my faith in Robert Pattinson, that he will do a good job. Or just you'll have to wait and see. And as I said, going back to the point earlier, if you're like sincerely one of those people who really hate this and it's just because the character is near and dear to your heart, and I totally get that, just maybe watch some of his other films. As already mentioned earlier in the video, I think there's two people who really despise this. And I think, you know, it's either one of two things. If you're being honest with yourself, you've only seen Twilight, you've only seen the glistening vampire thing, the girl fandom craze from years and years ago, and that has put a sour taste in your mouth for shiny vampire guy is going to be Batman. I get where you're coming from, but like, if you're being honest with yourself, then you will know that you can't really judge it because you haven't seen all of his other films. If you have already seen all of his other films and decided, I still don't feel this dude is Batman, fair enough, but reserve your judgment. Think about what people said about Ben Affleck. Think about what people said about Heath Ledger. We've learned from this, or we should learn from this. We should, or people who are really like proper trolling us online almost with how bad people are reacting to this, should maybe take a step back and think, oh yeah, like I said the same thing about Ben Affleck. Oh, he turned out to be kind of the majority of fandom's favorite live action Batman. I can't speak for everyone, but that's why I said majoritively. Mentioned it just a second ago, the people of the freaking fandom went crazy, or like the majority of people went crazy when Heath Ledger was cast as what happened there, the best Joker to a majority of people. Some films like Good Time, even his secondary kind of role in Lost City of Z with Charlie Hunnam, was really, really good. Even Remember Me, which was close to the Twilight days. That film was just all him to do with the Twin Towers, and I remember watching that in 2010, and I thought, this is good. So I just wanted to say, like, I really do support this guy as Batman. I think he will do great. I totally understand if you're not totally on board, but I don't sympathize with people who are judging this based, it's wholly on how a sparkly vampire shouldn't be the Batman, and all of those people who are just memeing about the he's already been a vampire and blah blah blah. Now he's going to be a bat. I just feel like, I don't know, I guess it's just the internet. It's so easy to hate on things. And just to clarify here, I'm not on about people who generally just don't want him in the role because they may not like him as an actor, even though lots of other people do. I'm not on about that, but I'm just on about the bandwagon, like the people who have only seen Twilight and who are giving their decree as if like he will be really bad. But there's no stopping this. This is the internet. People do jump on things. It's like, reminds me of the Captain Marvel thing. Even though, like, say what you will about that, I'm not going to get too political about this, but lots of people, like, evidently, this, jumped on that, even though they didn't really have the entire situation nailed down in their heads. In, like, for example, like they do here, they haven't seen all of Robert Pattinson's acting range, for example, but they're still jumping on it anyway. There's no stopping it, but I just hope that he does get the role definitively, and he proves people wrong, just like Ledger did and just like Affleck did. You also have to have faith in Matt Reeves as well. I know this isn't maybe like entirely up to Matt Reeves, like Warner Brothers may like obviously want Robert as well, but I really do feel, and maybe if you respect me a little bit and what I have a vision for in terms of my massive fandom for the Batman and the Bat family and DC Comics, I think this guy will do good. Take my word for it. If I'm wrong and the film comes out, write on my Batman review by Matt Reeves, Boba, you effing idiot, or something like that, and I'll hold my hands up. But other than that, I will stake my freaking reputation on this. What kind of reputation do you have, Boba? I mean, come on. But still, I'll stake my non-reputation for this. For those wondering in terms of how this connects to the DCEU, well, like, they definitely did. Like, there is no definitive word on this, but it does seem like it is a prequel to obviously the current DC cinematic universe, but the way they're probably going to approach it is that not everything has to line up. This is going to be a younger kind of Ben Affleck's Batman. I definitely believe it's still in continuity with the DCEU. I mean, for example, Ben Affleck was going to be in this film. Don't forget that. He was going to obviously direct it, write it, and everything. But then, as we all know, I shouldn't have to remind you of this, we had like the spiral staircase of will he, won't he? Oh, he may be acting in it, but not directing it. Oh, he may be co-writing it with Matt Reeves, but still starring in it. And then, do you know what I mean? It turned into that. So the fact that he was involved in it was definitely still meant to be a kind of thing with the DC cinematic universe, if you will. But now we're getting a Batman who's 32 years old roughly, and it's going to be so far in the past that they're not going to deliberately try and tie in any of the DC cinematic universe stuff, as of Batman versus Superman, Wonder Woman, and all those kind of things. There doesn't literally need to be any references to the point where you could almost argue that this could be disconnected or on like Earth 3, 4, 5, but really it is low-key 20 years in the past, roughly, or like 15 years in the past. But in conclusion, guys, I think Robert Pattinson is on a comeback. Not really that he needs one, but I think he's, been quiet in all the kind of secondary or like independent roles he's done. People haven't heard of it. Basically, to put that in the sum up line, he hasn't been a part of massive motion picture like films in terms of like another Twilight-esque series, like a role as big as the Batman. He's avoided that because of what happened in Twilight, but now he's going to be in the Batman, probably. He's going to be in Christopher Nolan's next film. Do you really think that this guy has like no talent if like all of this is happening? Trust me on this one, guys. I think he's going to do great. But of course, guys, that's just my opinion. I completely respect yours. Maybe not so much if you're 100% basing it on the Twilight films, but that should be self-explanatory. Like, you should definitely get a whole sense of the guy and then maybe give your opinion, because you just don't really know what you're talking about if you're just basing it off a sparkly vampire freaking character. But other than that, guys, I would still love to hear what you think down in the comments below. Let me know if you agree with me. Let me know if you hated it, but maybe if I've persuaded you a little bit with how much passion I have for this potential casting, even though it seems like a low-key kind of done deal. Other than that, guys, especially if you got this far in the video, please like the video if you did enjoy it. Subscribe for more Batman updates like this. Of course, I will be covering it as much as I can, especially when breaking stuff like this comes out. But that is everything, guys, so thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a lovely rest of your day. I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.